he said that I had a nose job done and this was this government, but no. And I was so hurt that I couldn't forgive my brother, so I just stopped thinking about him. I stopped communicating when I went to another city for college. But then I learned that he was very, very sick, so that he probably would die. And I didn't know what to do because at some from one point of view, this anger and resentment helped myself to cope with this feeling of loss. And to be honest, I was very sad when I heard this news that he was sick, and this anger helped me to cope. But then I could see that it was not very sincere, that underneath this anger and resentment I still could see that I felt very, very sad that he was in such bad condition, because yes, I could remember him being a drug addict, but at the same time I remembered him being a nice person who would wash cars, hand wash cars in the cold weather, and gave all the money to my mother so she could buy us some food, because my mom was working in the factory and they didn't pay salary for months and months, so we were literally starving. And that was one of very challenging periods of my life, when I was trying to figure out how should I behave and feeling towards my brother. And I don't know how, but I forgave him. I forgave him everything that he has done to me, because you can see that sometimes, actually not sometimes, very often, people who cause suffer, they are suffering themselves. And I could see that his father abandoned him when he was 4 years old. My father, his stepfather, didn't love him that much and was sometimes very, very cruel to him. And then he lived in a very unstable period of Russian history, when everything was falling apart, and there was like a lot of drugs on the streets, and they were very, very cheap. And he was kind of person that wanted to please everyone. So when his friends started taking drugs, he did the same. And drugs and any addiction, it changes your mind, it changes your personality. So you need to dig really, really deep to find this person, right? Underneath all these addictions and harmful behaviors. So that's how in this not story but imagined situation, that you're walking in the woods and you see a dog and you want to pet it, but it lurches at you, it barks, and you coming from this feeling of joy into this feeling of anger, like why would it bark at me? But then you see that its paw is trapped, and you're going from this anger to another feeling, which is compassion, because you could see that the dog was barking at you because he's severely hurt. So the same was with my brother. It didn't mean that I had to give him more money for his addiction, but at least I could see that I could forgive him, and it was a very, very challenging period that that I'm not friendly enough, that I felt some sort of envy or maybe anger towards someone, and then I'm judging myself for having these feelings. It's getting better actually, because before that it was like like a knot of hatred and resentment which I couldn't unwind. Now it's better. Trying to bring more compassion towards myself as well. And so yeah, we are going through our days with all these thoughts and feelings that we are not meeting our standards, and we are judging ourselves, which doesn't help actually to become a better person, right? So often when we are thinking about forgiveness, we think about some lifelong resentments or the situations where our hearts were broken into thousands of small tiny pieces. But what I want you to understand, that I think that not forgiving and judging doesn't always have to do with some big resentments. Often it's just daily practice that involve situations that we even don't notice, that slip unconsciously. For example, what are you thinking when you're watching your spouse driving the car? What are you thinking when you're looking at how your colleagues doing their jobs? What are you thinking when judging an approach of your kids to the chores? Right? So all these mundane tiny things, and often we have these judgments and thoughts, and we even are not aware of them. So, and that's why we can use the word practice. Are we practicing blame, right? And when things are not going our way, we often blame someone. And actually, very often we blame ourselves. It's a deeply rooted part of our primitive wiring. When something is painful, we look for a cause so we can control it. That's the basic mechanism of blame. So ask yourself, am I practicing blame? And as I mentioned, I using the word practice on purpose, because it's really a habit, a particular way of thinking. We judge people in our daily the story of your play. We're not saying it's okay. This person can keep on hurting us or insulting or abusing us. Actually, we need to keep the boundaries and have the courage to see that somebody is causing harm and hurting us. And we need to come with the decision how we want to take care of the situation. But it doesn't mean that our hearts need to tighten up into a knot of anger and aversion, because this anger and aversion will cause even more pain, and we don't want to put another layer of suffering on the existing pain. And it's really harming to our body and our nervous system and our capacity to keep waking up. So we can forgive and vow never again. We can forgive and file for divorce. We can forgive and sign petitions. We need to do wise actions, but release the armoring around our hearts. When something bad happens, there is a healthy tendency. When the anger arises, it means that something that was important has been hurt. But when we are stuck in this feeling of anger and resentment, we can see all of who's there, and we are living in a very small sense of who we are. When we're in a judgment, it feels very compelling and very addictive. Actually, one interesting fact that I want to share with you is I was told by Andrew Huberman, a Stanford professor of ophthalmology and neurobiology. I think I'm a huge fan of his podcast, which is called the Huberman Lab. It's about science-based tools to improve daily life, your performance, your habits. It's an amazing podcast that had an enormous effect on my life. And there was one episode where Andrew Huberman shared the findings on one research. So I don't remember how exactly it was conducted, but the fact that there was a group of people and then could stimulate different parts of their brains to cause different emotions. And the researchers were amazed that most people reported feeling one particular emotion particularly pleasing. And you would think, oh, maybe it's like love or astonishment, or what was it? But it actually was frustration. So we wired this way that we like to feel anger and frustration, and it's amazing. So I will try to find this study or the episode where this research was described, experiment was described, and maybe make another short video about it. But it's amazing, right? And so we want to feel this temporary surge of rightfulness, and it's very compelling to hold onto this story when we are right and someone else is wrong, and we are blaming this person, or again we are blaming ourselves. So it's kind of it might seem very weird situation when we, on one hand, we feel right about our rightfulness, and the other side of the situation is ourselves again that we are blaming. So it just seems to be absurd, but I think it's a common situation nowadays, right? When we have all these high is seen by Carlos Castaneda in his book, where Don Juan says, "When death makes the slightest gesture, the bitterness walls away." And you can think that probably if you face death right now, you won't be thinking about, different situations where you were right and where you were blaming other people or yourself. It doesn't matter, just because the situations are not very important, and I can share one of the recent experience in my life. So I don't know, but if all of you who is watching this video know, but there is a terrible war that Russia started against Ukraine, and I'm from Russia, but I have a lot of friends from Ukraine, and my mom is half Ukrainian as well, and the war was going on, and I was very anxious about it, but I also had my mundane life here in America, and I got angry with some woman. So she was just destroying my daily life. She was complaining, and I couldn't get rid of her because we're stuck in some official relationships, and I was very annoyed. She was very rude, and I didn't know what to do. And I remember, just not sleeping 3 nights in a row because I was so nervous about what I should do with her and with all of your complaints. And then the news came that Russia was attacking a nuclear power station, and if the bomb would hit this power station, then half of Europe would be dead, and probably it would be the first step to the nuclear war, world war. And I think I'm not exaggerating, because I think that Russian government is just probably crazy, and that they can destroy the entire planet if they want, And I had this feeling one night when I heard the news that it might be our last night alive. And I thought about the situation with this woman, and I thought, wow, it's so not worse, the time and mental effort and struggle that I put into the situation. It just doesn't matter. What really matters, that my family is nearby, that my friends still with me, and all the things. That what matters, that our Earth is still alive. And the situation with this woman started to seem such, an important thing. Just okay, I have to admit that after the danger of this nuclear power station being damaged, got in the past, and the life was going on, I again started being stressful about this woman, but not in that degree, and also I always recalled this night when I saw that we had to leave a couple more hours. So just to remind myself that it's not worth it to invest so much mental struggle into such mundane situations. They're not that important. Okay, so the path of forgiving is not easy. We have to challenge our judgments. We have to let go of our stories. Yes, nice example exchange student in Germany, and there was a guy, and I fell in love so much with him. And when I came back to my country, he said that he would visit me. He said like approximate dates, and then he disappeared. So he didn't show up online. He didn't respond to my messages. I even was afraid something happened to him. But then in a few weeks, I saw the photos where he was tucked in, and my heart broke because he was with another girl. I thought she was just a friend of him, but now like she was his girlfriend. And you know, I was destroyed. And I remember blaming him. I remember blaming myself for being stupid, for falling in love with him. So it was a really very long, ongoing story of this blame. And it took me, I think, eventually years to forgive him and myself, and to see that he was just a regular being. He was not a particular bad person, right? And when we met a couple of years later, he said that he could have never thought how important he was in my life, and that he felt so sorry. And I forgave him, of course, before we met. But it was nice to hear his point of view, because often people hurt us not with intention, not intentionally. They hurt some stupidity, naivety, right? And even when have they this intention to hurt, I think we often can look at them as just regular beings, you know. I'm not talking about especially, you know, like sadistic personalities or sociopaths. There are not that many of them, but of course they are so. And I'm not talking about this type of situation where we met with this type of person. Hopefully we don't meet these people in our life path, but most people in our lives who hurt us, they're not particularly bad people, and we are not particularly bad people ourselves. We know a lot about ourselves. We can trace every single thought that we have in our mind, and that's why we often think that we are the worst people out there, right? Oh, this time I felt judgmental, or I felt envious, or I felt, or what is it called? Schadenfreude, right? When you are happy about someone's failure. We all have these feelings and thoughts, but it doesn't mean that we bad people. It just means that we are regular people, and we need to forgive, and we need to forgive ourselves in the first place. Actually, for me, my path of forgiveness started not with forgiving myself. I couldn't do this. But I started with my brother. As I told, he hurt me a lot. But forgiving him gave me this hope that I might forgive myself as well. And when I realized that forgiving myself will bring more peace into my life, and that it will help me to become a better person, I started this very painful and long process. I still judge myself, I still blame myself, but it doesn't happen that often as it has been before. We can't will forgiveness, but we can be willing to forgive, and that's what Nachiketa asked for that willingness to release this armoring and the blame. And the willingness comes from a very deep wisdom that tells us that the armor around our hearts causes suffering. It's an additional layer to the initial pain. against yourself right now. Maybe it's something very explicit, or maybe just quietly. Maybe some part of you feels like you haven't done something right, or you're not behaving the way you should. Maybe you let someone down, or maybe it's an addictive behavior. That's something that you are holding against yourself for not meeting your own standard. Notice that that's the practice of an ongoing blame. And let us start with something that is not huge, some minor way you might have caused yourself or someone else trouble. Please don't pick up a situation that was really traumatic or very, very hurtful, just something minor, as eating a cake that you didn't want to eat and promised yourself not to eat. Okay? And as you sense that you're holding against yourself, and since